Well, he's out. Graham Plattner officially exits the race, but does his exit make it harder for Susan Collins to win? Let's go.
Let's go.
Not surprised? I don't think you're surprised. I don't think anybody's surprised that Plattner's out. It's just a matter of when. It was always a matter of when. I didn't think he would do it yesterday night. Figured he would kind of hold him over the cliff a little bit longer. But nevertheless, he is out. The question right now is who will be his successor. Is it going to be that socialist former state senator who's got the backing of Bernie Sanders, or has the socialist wing completely evaporated their support? Is it over? They have no political clout left in Maine politics whatsoever. Will it be Janet Mills? Will she get in the race, the former governor? Will the mainstream Democrats take over, be the adults in the room, the proverbial adults in the room? All that remains to be seen. The one thing I think that's very obvious, though, is that Democrats have massive egg on their face. These are people that lied and covered up for Graham Plattner and said it didn't matter and told us all women are to be believed, except for the women that are making accusations against him. They own this, and they're going to try to make you forget, just like how they tried to make you forget that they pushed Joe Biden out of the race. And we're not going to let them. We are going to hold them accountable. And to that end, we're going to highlight all of the people who told you that the accusations against Graham Plattner were no big deal. Why is that important? Because we are so manipulated in this media ecosystem that we live in today, constantly. And these politicians and these powerful corporations are always trying to manipulate you and to get you to believe something. And so when you see something that's so obvious right in your face, and then you're told by all these powerful people that it's nothing and it's no big deal, and then all those powerful people then turn around and say, oh, now it is a big deal. You see the manipulation. You see it firsthand. You see what they do to you. You see how they try to make you believe one thing, and then they change their mind and make you to believe something else. So let's do some flashbacks, everybody. Let's do this. This is a supercut put out by Tom Elliott at Grabian. He does a real nice job with this stuff. Democrats explaining why Nazi tattoos and sexually aggressive behavior are fine, perfectly fine.
The obsession with personal purity. We're not hiring a priest. We're hiring a senator. We're going to talk about fucking tattoos and sexting. He gets a hall pass.
I don't give a fuck if somebody had a toxic relationship. Toxic relationships and tattoos and all of this shit. Talk about Susan Collins.
He could be 100 times more fucked up than he is. He'd never be as fucked up as what we got in Washington now anyway. What I'm more outraged about is stupid Susan Collins. I asked all of you to consider the candidacy of Graham Plattner. I asked all of you to understand his flaws.
Are you rescinding your support for Graham Plattner after the lewd posts that leaked?
What's the polling in Maine right now?
I don't get bothered by it as much. None of it. He's someone who had a drinking problem as a Marine.
Plattner has owned up to mistakes he made as a younger guy. Do I want to make the best the enemy of the good?
Graham Plattner is popular even though he is flawed. He is a flawed man, just like I'm a flawed man. And this is the key. Everybody is flawed at some level.
No one's perfect. All politicians have baggage. This just happens to be a candidate that has baggage.
He's got an anti-Semitic tattoo.
I feel like this president is saying, I hate black people.
I like Graham Plattner. You like Graham Plattner?
That's my kind of man. I would vote for Plattner. Let's get some power. Yeah. Let's take over the Senate. Let's take over the House.
Somebody that has put his life on the line for this country against somebody that is literally empowering the moral hollowing out of our nation.
He had had 2 tours of duty in Iraq. He came back broken in a dark place. He took accountability. He acknowledges that he was misogynistic, was toxicity, and there was verbal intimidation, which I condemn. It happened in a dark period of his life. He's taken accountability. He started an oyster farm. He was on the ocean for years. He found himself, look, let's give him some grace.
Mom. He went into combat on behalf of the United States. He went through a really rough period. Yeah. PTSD type period.
Graham clearly made a mistake, and I've been on CNN saying that what I appreciated about him is that he owned that mistake. You know, what is disqualifying is having a senator in Maine who just does Donald Trump's bidding.
This is a guy who has served this country, who has gone through some really tough things. If this is going to be a character election in Maine, There is a question of character in continuing to support a president that is terrorizing immigrants.
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Graham Plattner is the next senator from the state of Maine.
You know, all those Bible-clutching Christians voted for the guy who we all heard boast about sexual assault. Democrats have to take over the Senate. They have to take over the House. If I lived in Maine, I would hold my nose and I would pull that lever and I would vote for him.
Maybe we should be focusing on the important issues facing working people throughout this country, not focusing on his marriage.
It doesn't matter because he's right about what's wrong.
Sometimes you make alliances that you would not have made under a different set of circumstances. Franklin Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, who did they work with? Well, Joseph Stalin. His imperfections are imperfections that we can all identify with.
I'm not going to sit here and judge Mainers who want to push against the status quo. It's not my place to judge. If Graham Plattner can earn their trust, then he earns their trust.
He thinks he's a changed person, a transformed person. I believe him.
Graham Plattner is no Nazi. I don't think that he's a racist in any way. His relationship with his wife is his relationship with his wife. It's all about, leaked consensual
Hunter Biden
stuff.
and Gavin Newsom.
Accusations against Graham Plattner are not classic Me Too accusations. Not like classic
That's
abuse
New York Times correspondent.
allegations. Of course, in the Access Hollywood tape, President Trump bragged about grabbing women against their will. Gender-related accusations get bundled together, but they're actually very different.
He said they let you do it, which means that it wasn't against their will. But you see, that's called deflection there. Make it about Trump. That was an excellent supercut put together by Tom Elliott at Grabian. Excellent job. Well done. And I wanted you to hear that whole thing in its entirety because it went from that to he's got to go. All of that you heard in that 3-minute clip to he has to get out of the race. Nothing changed. There was no proof. This allegation that came out on Monday, there was no video proof. There was no, her word versus his. Nothing changed. It was in his past, the time that he was going through all this trauma and everything else that you heard in that montage. He worked through all those sins. He worked through all that. It's a changed man. But what changed is that he was going to lose. And that's it. And that's why these people are such horrible, manipulative people. And the Democrat base is in an abusive relationship with its own party. It really is. It's in an abusive relationship with its own party. Because the Democrat establishment takes the Democrat base completely for granted, and it doesn't care what they think. It steamrolls right over them. For example, you heard somebody in that clip say, if the people of Maine choose him, the people of Maine choose him. Well, they did. 72% of the primary voters chose Graham Plattner to be their Senate nominee. And the establishment didn't care. They came in and they rolled over and they said, he's got to go, so we're going to drop this latest allegation, which they all had all along, and he's out. So that's what they do. And they did the same thing with Joe Biden, forced him out of the race. They did the same thing with Bernie Sanders in 2016, stopping him from becoming the nominee. Did the same thing with Bernie Sanders in 2020, stopping them from becoming the nominee. So the Democrat base, it's like a battered spouse. It's a battered wife. It's a battered husband, whatever it is. I mean, whatever you want to call it. Battered they, them, battered Zer, whatever it is. And the establishment loves to come home after a long day and kick the dog. And that dog is the Democrat base. And then it goes over and has a drink and then kicks it again. Doesn't care. At what point does the Democrat establishment, the base, I should say, turn to the establishment and say, go F yourself. Like, I'm out. I'm done. That's why you're going to see right now in Maine, particularly, if they don't get another Bernie Sanders style socialist, they'll stay home. They're already threatening that. I heard Joy Reid, I'm not going to play it for you, but she said something similar to that. If we don't get somebody ideologically that we want, if we don't get that kind of person, stay home. Don't vote. Don't get out there and vote. Send them a message. So now they're probably going to wind up nominating another socialist to be on the ticket in Maine. But don't let these people, don't ever let them, don't forget, basically. Just don't forget. Don't let them play a mind game with you because it's not okay. Don't forget what Elizabeth Warren said when she said this about Graham Plattner, cut 7.
Graham Plattner is the real deal. He's a fighter. and he's ready to take that fight to Washington. Graham Plattner has the grit to go against the grain and to fight for what is right. That's the energy, that's the fighting spirit that the Democratic Party needs now more than ever.
Molly Jong-Fast, who is a prominent leftist talking head. She's always on the TV shows and the networks and all the other stuff, along with Rick Wilson, who was one of the architects of the Never Trump movement from way back in the day. They smear Plattner's accuser, Lindsay Fifield, as a right-wing operative. Okay? And then, this is from a couple weeks ago, June 7th. And then I'll play you the clip that just happened that Plattner ran, that they're saying, how does this guy run without proper vetting? So let's start with the June 7th clip.
If you were a Republican strategist or Mitch McConnell, what would you do with the Graham Plattner situation at this moment?
I would use a cutout person who is deeply involved with a whole bunch of right-wing causes, and I would get her to the New York Times. I would try to tell it in a way that did not pay attention to the fact that she works for the Independent Women's Forum and the Heritage Foundation. I know the person that's making the accusation.
Smearing her.
She's a right-wing activist and operator. It's the kind of person I would have used when I was still doing that kind of work.
I'm baffled that the vetting process for this candidate, number one. I mean, this is just, the fact that they're just constant, allegations, I think really is a sign that there just was not proper vetting here. So another reason why, I don't know how we got here.
The woman that they're trying to smear, by the way, I want to share this with you because the story from Fox News, Plattner accuser recalls gaslighting and betrayal from the New York Times as she came forward with her allegations. Lindsay Fifield spoke with Fox News Digital about the New York Times controversial report. And here are some of the things that she said. Betrayal. That's the word that comes to mind for her. I'm going to bring this up to you because of two reasons. Number one, the Democrats are full of crap when they say believe all women. They don't mean it. They don't mean it for a second. Okay? Because if a woman comes forward and accuses a Democrat, they don't believe that woman, period. That's number one. Number two, I'm bringing this up because the New York Times did the absolute, the journalism that they did, if you want to call it journalism here, was done to help Graham Plattner. That's what the New York Times did in smearing Lindsay Fifield. That's what they did. When this woman came forward on Monday, the next woman, the Jenny Rassicot came forward on Monday and said that Plattner raped her, drunkenly entered her home, had sex with her despite her telling him to stop. That's called rape. That is R-A-P-E. That is the word. Fifield and Rassicot were both interviewed by the New York Times in a story published last month about Plattner's unsettling behavior with women, but the report included a focus on Fifield's conservative politics. That's what they did. The New York Times piece, she said, people are looking back at that with absolute horror and just saying like, holy crap, this is like terrible. This is truly gruesome what you've done to these women. The New York Times, who's supposedly the great lady, right? The journalist standard in America, the New York Times. That's what they did. So they did it to Lindsay Fifield and they did it to the other woman too. But with Lindsay Fifield, they particularly piled on her because she was a conservative activist. But before the story was published, the Times reporters connected Fifield with Rassicot. She found it strange, but was told by reporters that Rassicot had no one and was totally isolated because of her far-left social circle that was supportive of Plattner's campaign. They said she really needs a friend and you will be able to understand her. And they were right about that. We have become friends. And then why is it that her story came out on Monday if she had spoken to the New York Times all this time ago? Because they had it and they were just waiting for the right time to use it. That's the bottom line. So we have been, and most, I don't care because I'm not a Democrat and B, I don't live in Maine, but the Democrats in Maine, you talk about gaslighting, you talk about manipulation, you talk about people who have gotten into their heads and have, and the abusive relationship that this party has with its own base. I mean, it is disgusting. It really is. It is gross what these people have done. And they've done this to the now we're supposed to act like this is all enraging. Like, this is, I can't believe it. So Jen Psaki, who at one point was defending Graham Plattner, goes out last night after he drops out of the race and basically says, this is enraging for all of us.
And to what has been an unpredictable, incredibly tumultuous, at times fascinating simply because of the political story, and ultimately deeply enraging political career for Graham Plattner, enraging for all of us. And we have covered this race from the very beginning on purpose, because I think it's important that we don't put our heads in the sand and just project upon all of you what we think and only talk to people at a table in Washington, D.C. I think one of the most important things we can do is listen to voters, to watch and to try to understand what is happening in this country, even if it doesn't totally make sense.
The voters picked him. What are you talking about? The voters picked him, and then the establishment shoved him out by dropping a bombshell after he went down in the polls. What the hell are you talking about? He didn't, nothing changed. Nothing changed other than the fact that he was losing. And you guys, you being the establishment, pushed this guy out. I'm happy that he's gone, believe me, but I think it makes it tougher for Susan Collins to win now that he's out of the race. And that was the whole point of why they did this, why they engaged in this massive manipulation game. But don't sit here and tell me that I'm like, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, as the old saying goes. Like, don't do that. All right. I'm not stupid. You people had all these accusations and all these allegations and all this crap and everything, and you knew about all of it. And don't act like, oh, but this one was the one where we said, well, this is too much of a line here. New York Times talked to this woman a month ago. Why didn't they publish her full account? Because they were waiting. They said, let's wait, because if we need it, we got to use it down the road. We got to sit on this. But if he can win, if he was up 10 points, he'd be a candidate right now. He would still be in the race, not putting out his hostage video. So this is what he said last night when he suspended his campaign operations. You may have heard this, but I want to play this for you because it was like a 13-minute video or something like this. The key point here, what you need to know, is that he is saying that the establishment pushed him out. He is saying that they're lying about him, but he's saying he has no choice. And you know what the translation of that is? He has no money. And they have told him they're cutting off his funding. You will get no money. You get nothing. So he can't win in that scenario. So that's basically why he's out.
We believe that for the movement to continue, it can't be made. And for that reason...
Stupid goatee.
Oyster shirt, huh?
Good catch.
We are suspending campaign operations.
Wouldn't you cover up the tats on the arm, though?
This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are.
So then why are you getting out? Because she has no money. That's it. It's all about the fazools, baby. I tell you that all the time. He doesn't have any. He can't raise any, and they've cut him off. So he's done. That's the big story of the hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Go see him today for your perfect smile. He's a great guy. He's my friend. He's my dentist. VeneriaDental.com, the master of dental implants. But Jared, wouldn't you cover up the tats if the Nazi tattoo was such a thing, and you go out and you give your dumb video? And he's wearing shorts again, shorts that are way too short for any grown man to wear, and he's got the tats showing. Wouldn't you wear like a proper shirt?
I think
so that the tattoos are not.
I think Graham Plattner is going to go out and celebrate, and he's going to get a whole Nazi sleeve to You
think so?
Yeah, he can finally be himself again. You know, he's been held back.
Maybe a Hitler face tattoo or something.
I mean,
Hitler mustache.
Maybe he gets a whole scene on the back. He gets the full back thing. He could call it My Little Totenkopf,
like Roger Stone has for Nixon.
It's not that big, the Nixon one. Did he show when he was in town? Did he show that?
Yeah, he showed it.
It's not that big, but it's big for a Nixon tattoo. But yeah, this guy's bringing back the. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised he came with the walrus mustache and not the little Charlie Chaplin center there.
Not the little Charlie Chaplin Hitler mustache.
Yeah, right.
He is such a friggin' creep, man.
Can I, Rich? when you played the Supercut, you mentioned New York Times reporter Jodi Kantor, right?
Yep.
She was at the end there. Not just New York Times reporter Jodi Kantor. That was creator of the Me Too movement, person that brought down Harvey Weinstein, Jodi Kantor.
Yes.
She is Me Too. And she's out there saying, well, I mean, she didn't really work for him. There's no dynamics here that we were really troubling. It's just a different person with a different perspective. She created the Me Too movement. It was built off of her reporting.
Yep. She's the birthing person of the Me Too movement. She's the gestating parent of the Me Too movement. And she dismissed all of the allegations about Graham Plattner.
Yep.
The gestating parent, that's her right there. New York Times reporter and the Me Too movement founder. And said, no, this doesn't rise to that level. Doesn't rise to that level. No big deal. No big whoop. No big thing. Catherine Rampel on MS Now. She does not have resting MS Now face as much as the others, but she's decided now that she's going to bury Graham Plattner. So they're all burying Graham Plattner now. And I find it to be amazing to watch because this is the network that more than any other network came to his defense night after night after night. And we played you the other day the hypocrisy of Chris Hayes and Rachel Maddow with their resting MS Now face, how they were at one point defending Plattner and they came out against Plattner. And more than any other network, MS Now has been the home, the gateway, and the protector and the guardian, defender, forgiver, the light of the way of Graham Plattner. Until now, that is.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank all of you. And keep fighting. We're going to win someday.
Someday.
Well, that was Graham Plattner officially announcing that he is dropping off of the ballot for Maine Senate, for federal Senate from Maine, but taking zero responsibility for any of the scandals and more troubling things in his past that have destroyed that campaign, instead blaming, corporate media, the political establishment, lots of hate for the political establishment, saying that we banded together, we did it the way we were told we were supposed to make change and we won, and now they are not going to let us have it. So lots of finger pointing and blame and not taking any responsibility. Note that whoever he conceives of as the political establishment, you do have many of his once allies, including Bernie Sanders and Ro Khanna, also calling for him to drop out, people who believe many of the same policy ideas that Graham Plattner himself
but that's the point.
Says that he was taken down for. He also said during that 10-minute video that all we were asking for was healthcare, was to end the genocide, to use our taxpayer dollars at home to uplift our communities instead of waging war overseas. We were asking for a fair system. We are asking for an end to the corruption.
Now, that's the point, though. See, MS Now, the corporate media, they were running cover for this guy up until Monday. Up until Monday, they were running cover for him. And then when they got the message from the establishment, turn on Plattner, they turned on Plattner. Bernie was the last holdout. Ro Khanna turned right away. Gavin Newsom turned right away. Even Mamdani, they all fell in line. And they said, got to get him out. Got to get him out of the race. Can't win. We got to replace him. Got to put in somebody else. So when he talks about that, that's what he means. He means like corporate media like that. The manipulation, the mind games, the gaslighting, that's what they do. And that's what you saw right there. And somehow my name's been brought into all this, by the way. Yes. Huffington Post and Mediaite writing about my appearance on Fox News the other day. I'm going to share that with you in just a second. But I'm so excited because we're going to be live in Cape May, August 7th for a 4-hour show. I will be returning to my former time slot on Talk Radio 1210 WPHD, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. to do a 4-hour show on Friday, August 7th. And I want to see you there at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. The show is free. You don't need a ticket. You don't need a reservation. Just come on and say hello and stop by. The bar will be flowing. There'll be great people there and you'll have a blast. And if you want to make your summer vacation plans, you should, because the Grand Hotel is the absolute most beautiful place to stay at the Jersey Shore. And right now, when you book your July midweek stay, you are going to save with resort credits. They're going to give you money back to spend at the resort how you want to spend it. Hemingway's Restaurant, great food and drinks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, freshest steaks and seafood you could find anywhere. The pool bar, beautiful outdoor pool bar, and their beautiful, gigantic heated outdoor pool. And a heated indoor pool, too, in case the weather's bad. Arcade room for the kids. Hot tub. It's all there for you at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. And they're going to give you resort credits back. So the longer you stay, the more you get back to use at the resort. Spend a whole week there? Why not? It's better than a shore house. Look, you don't have to worry about washing the sheets and towels. And they have, a lot of the rooms have kitchenettes and refrigerators. So you can bring in some food, bring in some drinks. And you don't have to worry if the weather's bad or the jellyfish are out or whatever it is. Because you're covered with 2 gigantic pools. And if you stay a week, you're going to get $80 a night in resort credits. Find me a shore house that'll give you $80 a night in resort credits. And we're going to go anyway because you're at a house. This Grand Hotel, you're at a resort with all the amenities of the resort, including a full-service restaurant right on site. Beautiful restaurant. So make your reservation today before they sell out for the summer. GrandHotelCapeMay.com and join us August 7th, 3 to 7 p.m., GrandHotelCapeMay.com. All right, so Jared, somehow I've been brought into all this, and I guess I like it because I love publicity, obviously, and I'm not ashamed to say that I am the reason why the Taco Bell virus diarrhea no, that's a different story. Sorry, I confused you.
You're the reason that got bumped to page 2? That didn't...
I mean, that is really the most important story. Much more important than me.
Changing my weekend plans.
Put it up there because we might as well put it up there. What I find amazing about this, so Taco Bell locations are pulling ingredients off the menu as explosive diarrhea parasite cases surge. I just assume that when you went to Taco Bell, that's just what you got.
Right. How do you know? How can you tell that this is not the regular?
Yeah. How do you know it's just not Wednesday at Taco Bell?
Right.
I'm like...
in that statement, the guy said, "We apologize for the inconvenience." And I was like, you should say that every day. Every time you guys put something out on X, you should be like, "We apologize for the inconvenience of whatever happened to you at Taco Bell."
We are currently unable to sell lettuce, cilantro, onion, pico de gallo, and guacamole due to a nationwide recall while they respond to a spike in the how do you say it? Cyclosporiasis? That's the one, right?
Yep.
Several items. I think what they should do is not sell anything at Taco Bell ever again, including the Crunchwrap Supreme and the Cantina chicken.
It listed like 5 ingredients that I didn't even know they had. Cilantro, pico de gallo, and guac. And I was like, I don't even think they have those things. I think they have beans and gray def meat. And that's it.
Man. Now, if you scroll down the page, and we're not going to do this for you, but they actually have a picture of a woman sitting, this is the New York Post, of a woman sitting on the toilet and holding her head with her pants down, sitting on the toilet, a big roll of toilet paper next to her. And it says that this parasite can cause watery diarrhea and frequent, sometimes explosive bowel movements. And they have a picture of this poor woman sitting on the porcelain throne with a big thing of toilet paper next to her.
It's a stock
I'm
photo.
not showing that, but
it's a stock photo. It's just from the library. But that being said, Rich, here's the thing. I like the New York Post. This is the kind of reporting that I dislike because explosive diarrhea is that's a judgment. Like what is explosive to you might be a Tuesday to me. See, explosive, that's not scientific. What is explosive?
Nope. No, unless it's a terrorist-induced diarrhea, in which case exploding would be more appropriate, right?
Right.
Yeah, like a suicide vest or something like that. Like that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Explosive diarrhea could be...
Just saying, Taco Bell, not that far off. All right, but that's not why I was in the news. Wasn't about that, thankfully. Okay, I was in the news because when I was on Fox News the other day,
wait, even on Fox? That's cool.
Did I not mention that? That's on me. That's my bad. My
cool.
bad. Sorry about
this
that.
week. Okay.
Yeah, this week, and then Monday again with Martha, and then Thursday with Dana next week, and who knows in between. But I'm going to do a better job of promoting myself. All right, I'm working on it.
Exactly.
Yes, I need to let the people know. But you'll be proud of me because Mediaite and the Huffington Post both wrote stories about our segment. So the Mediaite story is, let's talk about all of it. Fox News guest calls out Republicans for not policing their own. And it goes into great detail about how I responded to the Democrat strategist that was on the panel. HuffPost, Fox News guest calls out GOP during Graham Plattner debate. Where are the Republicans? What's interesting about this story is that they write the fact that this guy tries to bring up Donald Trump. And I said to him, stay on topic. And so did Trace Gallagher, who was filling in for Martha, who was the host. Conservative podcaster and fellow guest Rich Zeoli interrupted Nellis for bringing this up. And even Gallagher urged the Democrat to stay on topic, despite the difference in how each political party reacts to serious allegations being a relevant point. And then he brings up this guy, Max Miller. So I'm going to play you a little bit of the exchange. All right. I normally don't do this. Actually, I normally don't play my own clips, but I want to just bring this up because this is what you're now hearing everywhere. They're doing it on The View. They're doing it. You heard in, I think, one of the montages, they brought up Donald Trump. They brought up the Access Hollywood tape. This is the game that they play, which is take whatever the topic is, obfuscate and change. And I want you to know that because, again, we're living in a time of constant and utter manipulation. So when you're being manipulated, I want you to know how they do it. And you're smart enough to see it, but you just may not realize it. Much like, you're not realizing that Taco Bell's giving you explosive diarrhea. You just think you just assume that that's what you get, like a side, In this case, I want you to know that this is the game because when he said it, I know that the talking points have gone out. They need to now start pivoting and bringing up Republicans and bringing up Donald Trump. And they need to do this because this is the game. Okay, so this is how it went.
At one point, Bernie Sanders said there are no saints in the Senate. Well, apparently there's a threshold for sainthood here, Mike.
Yeah, well, I think the last thing we need is another demon, right? And those clips are difficult to see. It's hard. I think every Democrat's going to have to wrestle with how we got here. I will say, though, the Republican Party has not been policing their own. I mean, we could talk about Donald Trump and his long dalliances all day, but there's hold on just a second, though, because I let you talk. But
stay on topic. I would just stay on topic.
Like, look, it's Congressman Max Miller was accused of beating his wife just like a month and a half ago. I haven't heard a single Republican.
What does that have to do with Graham Plattner?
No, they both.
Maybe you guys. Can I make a suggestion? Just a suggestion.
I don't want any scumbags in the United States.
All right, so then don't back people with Nazi tattoos going forward.
I agree with you.
How about this? Democrat Party is a rule. If a guy's a Nazi tattoo, you don't endorse him. What do you think?
I have no problem with that rule.
So
but also,
why don't you guys put that maybe in your party?
That doesn't justify the fact that Republicans are refusing this. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about Max Miller. He was accused of beating his wife a month and a half ago. Where are the Republicans calling for him to drop out?
I mean, this is nothing more than a case of politicians choosing power over proper.
100%. 100%.
All it is you have politicians like, you know what? We can smell the aroma of the Senate majority, and we don't care who fills it. That's just the way it's going to be.
That's fine, but it's not just Democrats. I want to be clear about that.
But nobody cares about this congressional race. This is the United States Senate
congressional races are important. Are you saying you don't care about him beating his wife?
This is the United States Senate race, and the Democrats are now abandoning a guy. These allegations are no different from the other allegations, and they all stood by him. One after one, they all stood by him. Now, remember, though, Trace, there was an effort to try to get him out right before the primary deadline when the New York Times story came out, and there was this kind of effort to get Janet Mills to win the nomination. But they stood by their man until they saw he couldn't win. Bottom line. And that's all about craven power and nothing.
But here's the thing, and watch this, Mike. I want to play this because here's the New York Times reporter who literally took down Harvey Weinstein during the whole Me Too thing, saying that Plattner was just a bad boyfriend. Play this soundbite, if you will.
The accusations against Graham Plattner are not classic Me Too accusations. They're not about a boss and a young female employee being subjected to sexual advances. There are allegations from former girlfriends that are not, the way my colleagues reported them, were not like classic abuse allegations.
Not really a bad guy. Ray Scott says in the spring, this was in June, right? In the spring, Ray Scott told the New York Times off the record, shared that she was assaulted by Graham Plattner. And then this New York Times reporter is going out on national television saying, he's not a bad guy.
Sure,
he's that classic bad guy.
But that's from a different allegation, so piecing them together is not the same. And the point that I was trying to make earlier is we have a lot of bad individuals who are rising up in politics right now. It includes Graham Plattner. He's got to go. But the fact that you just sit here and said that nobody cares that Max Miller beat his wife is highly alarming.
We're not here to talk about Max Miller. We're here to talk about Graham
Plattner. I think we got to be talking about all of it, because if we're not policing this conduct from people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, it's not right. Nobody has the moral high ground.
But the topic today is Graham Plattner.
No,
that's why we're here.
Plattner to go.
We're talking about Graham Plattner. If we want to do another segment on the congressman you're bringing up or the candidate,
you let me know when we're going to book a segment on Max Miller, because I haven't heard a lot about it from Republicans.
Fox.
That's fine.
See? Now,
first of all, that poor guy. He probably got Taco Bell on the way home. He looks like he hasn't missed a meal. And I think that the waist up shot at Fox is you look great, by the way. Nice trim, good profile. That shot's not for everybody. But like his so transparent attempt to make you say something that you didn't, right? Where you're like, nobody cares about a congressional race. He's like, you don't care about Max Miller and him beating his wife. It was like, wow, come on, bud. Is this what we're doing?
Right.
Like, this is really what we're doing here. Like, it was so...
Right.
And then he brought it back around. He was like, well, you already said you don't care that he beats his wife. And you're like, that's not what I said. What are you doing, bud? Like, you're trying to lay a trap for me. Like this is my first day on the job. Like, what a weird... like, it was... Sorry. That's... First of all, enjoyable. Not sure if Fox likes that or not. They like a little bit of conflict. I don't know how much that was for them.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I think I haven't heard from Trace Gallagher, and he said he's going to have his booker. But when I was walking out of the building, I literally said, I'm probably never going to be asked back on Fox ever again. And then 5 minutes later, the booker for that show texted me and said, are you available Monday or Tuesday? So I don't know. I mean, I literally thought I was done. I'm like, yeah,
Trace shakes your hand. He goes, hey, I really hope you enjoyed your last appearance on Fox. And you're like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And then the booker texts me and she's like, are you free Monday? I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. You know,
They've got a pair of boxing gloves all ready for you, bud.
But I was trying to get back on topic, and I was trying very hard to get back on topic. And then he kept bringing it back to this Max Miller guy. But you notice that Trace was trying to get it back on topic too. Everybody was trying to get it back on topic except for him.
So I'm not a Democratic strategist, and I don't go on television. Ken Paxton does not have a lily white past. And that feels like why are you bringing up a congressional candidate from Ohio that I can't even tell you who they are? Why would that be the comparison? If you're trying to make the comparison, Ken Paxton, what I would do if I was there was like, I'll condemn Graham Plattner if you'll condemn Ken Paxton. Like some version of that feels like apples to apples. I don't know why harp on a guy that I'm not even going to Google. Like I don't even. You know how many people run for Congress and don't make it anywhere? Like I don't know what his district is. I don't know who that is. Like it just feels like a weird.
435 seats in the House of Representatives, and there's only 100 in the Senate. And obviously, this is one of the races that is the most hotly contested races in the country for control of the Senate, as Trace was trying to point out. So you know.
Yeah, it's the race that they identified as the one they need to win. Not Max Miller. Weird.
Well, it was a fun last appearance on Fox. I will miss it.
Let's see if your key card works.
Yeah, but I mean, what should I have done at the end? Just let him go? I had to push back. You know?
I don't. First, as a former guy that used to coach talent, I don't really have any notes. I thought that was great. I don't think you didn't seem mean. You didn't seem. I'm more mean if you're. I think that his position is a tough position anyway. But for him to go on and be like, I know what I can do on Fox. You're already going in the lion's den, right? You need to be a little playful. Right. It's if you went on MS Now, you got to be a little playful. You got to smile and play the game a little differently. But if you're going into Fox as a Democratic strategist and you think you're going to bring up Mac Miller's race in Ohio and everyone's just going to melt down? Like, what was your plan, bud?
Yeah.
We all do this for a living.
Yeah. I mean, he tried with Trump, and that didn't work out for him. So then he pivots to this race, thinking that we'll go there, I guess, and we'll just change the topic midstream, drop Graham Plattner, and have a debate about this guy running for Congress in Ohio. Like, is that what his strategy was? Because that's a really bad strategy.
So the Fox control room is like, ditch the Plattner B-roll. We need B-roll of Mac Miller on 2. Roll on 2. No.
Quick. Change the Chiron. Change the Chiron.
Yeah, no. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Somebody figure out who the hell Mac Miller is in Ohio. Somebody find where Ohio is. You know what I mean?
I need a cup of coffee and a Google search on Mac Miller. Let's go, people. This random guest.
Let's go. We're running out of time here. The segment's almost over. Let's go. That's your big strategy on that. Oh, amazing. Let me tell you about Dr. Mike Veneria. Great guy, great friend, the master of dental implants and the undisputed master of complex procedures. That's what he does. It's what he's known for, and it's why doctors and dentists have sent their patients to Dr. Mike. For over 12 years, they have recommended their patients to go see Dr. Mike Veneria. And he's my dentist. In fact, I have an appointment coming up with him, my annual cleaning, in 2 weeks. You need to go see the dentist. There's a lot of benefits between your gum health, oral health, mouth health, gut health, heart health. It's all connected. So you want to go see Dr. Mike Veneria, veneriadental.com. And if you need a complex procedure, or if you've already had an estimate for one, get a second opinion. It's a no-brainer. You got to do that. One thing, stay away from these chain dental offices. They're all about money. Dr. Mike, it's about care and it is about compassion. And that is why for over 12 years, doctors and dentists have referred patients to Dr. Mike. They would not keep doing that unless he was the best of the best and made them look good with the results that he's giving you. All right? That's how you know. veneriadental.com, VANARIA, veneriadental.com. So now, what are the implications, though, on this race? Since it is one of the most important Senate races in the United States, except for the congressional race in Ohio. What does it mean for Susan Collins?
What if it comes down to that race, though? What if it's 207 to 207? It all came down to Mac. What if he was right?
That would be really remarkable,
awesome.
Wouldn't it? If it all comes down to that.
Lap. He should take his victory lap if that happens.
I don't think he's ever taken a lap.
This poor guy.
Collins allies think Plattner's exit makes her re-election bid tougher. The team thought Plattner's baggage gave her the best shot at re-election. This is from Politico. Republicans may be publicly using Plattner's exit from the Maine Senate race to ratchet up their attacks on Democrats, but behind the scenes, his withdrawal is hardly being viewed as good news for Senator Susan Collins' re-election campaign. According to a person familiar with the campaign's thinking, granted anonymity to discuss it, Collins' team had long viewed Plattner as a uniquely vulnerable opponent whose personal controversies could help offset one of the biggest challenges she faces in 2026, running as a blue state Republican in the Trump era. She can certainly win, but they didn't want to change candidates. The person familiar with the campaign's thinking was the stuff we already knew about Plattner was going to propel Collins to overcome the Trump anchor. Now it's going to be a Democrat, presumably with a cleaner record. The campaign did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and it is not weighed in. We know so the question, of course, is what does she do right now? Does she say anything? Does she get involved in the race? Does she make any comments about this? What Democrats are hoping to do, their strategy to try to get Susan Collins to lose, is they're going to say she's the reason why Brett Kavanaugh got confirmed in the Supreme Court, thus the reason why Roe v. Wade was overturned. This is their strategy. I'm not telling you it's going to work. I'm just telling you what the strategy is, all right? Keeping Plattner in the race makes that very difficult for them to be able to go after her, because it's like, wait a second. You're criticizing her for voting for Brett Kavanaugh when you've got this guy in the race who's been accused of rape on multiple occasions, and you're going to go after Susan Collins for voting for Brett Kavanaugh? Like really? When this guy is been accused of rape by multiple women. Now that's gone. Now that that's over, and they're going to try to do that Men in Black thing where they make you forget that it ever happened, that they ever backed a guy like that, they'll have somebody run, maybe this former state senator who doesn't have rape allegations, and then they'll try to make the whole race in the fall about Susan Collins is the reason why she didn't believe all women and Roe v. Wade got overturned. And then they're going to try to make that, and it doesn't matter because, I mean, it's like people are having abortions in Maine. It's not even an issue, but they don't have anything else to really run on. So they're going to try to run a socialist, and they're going to run on Trump bad, obviously, Orange Man bad. They'll do all that, all that stuff. But what they're also hoping to do is to tie her to the most extreme conservative Supreme Court of all time. That's what Susan Collins gave you because she didn't believe all women. And with Platner out of the race, now they're able to do that. Now they're able to focus on that more without people going, are you freaking kidding me? Like that's your strategy? You're going to try to take out her with this guy who's got rape accusations by saying that she should not have confirmed Brett Kavanaugh? That was, again, part of the thinking in getting him out when he was 4 points down versus the other guy who they're going to put in who's 5 points up. But I got to be honest with you. In looking at this whole thing, I think that it's going to be a real nail biter of a campaign. No doubt about that. It's going to be a real nail biter here. And a lot of this is going to depend on where we are with Iran. A lot of this is going to depend on that. Because Susan Collins is she's in the past been a pretty, I would say, hawkish member of the Senate. She's now trying to kind of play games with that a little bit, with the War Powers Act and everything else. But if we're still bogged down in this in the fall, if gas prices go dramatically up again, as midterms loom, that's going to be a problem for her in this Senate race. But what she has going for her now is you've got a Democrat base that feels once again betrayed and abused by the Democrat establishment. And now it's a matter of, can you get the Trump voters to come out? Because this is what we always see. It's a matter of there are Trump voters and there are Republican voters. Can you get the Trump voters to come out and support her? I don't know if they will, but I would imagine if it's a real nail biter, they're going to have to. They're going to have to do that. So I think it all comes down to who they choose to take over for Platner. So here's how Maine Democrats are going to do this. Here's what they're basically going to do. The party itself is going to meet, and they are going to have their own little insider job prospect where they decide who the candidate's going to be. All right. That's what they're going to do. And they're not going to allow the base to be in the conversation, and they're going to leave everybody out, and they will decide for everybody. And they'll pretend like it's an open process, but it's not an open process. It is a very closed process that they are going to make sure that they choose accordingly. They will do the vetting, they will do all the things, and they will make sure that they choose the person who they believe. But I just want to let you know what the little process works. The party's in charge of nominating someone. As long as Platner officially files his paperwork, which he's going to do, they have now 19 days, July 27th, to nominate his replacement. All right, and that's what they're going to do. And the people that are running will be chosen by the party bosses at a nominating convention. 600 delegates made up primarily of local party officials from around the state. See? What does that remind you of? You know what it reminds me of? How they chose Kamala Harris. They chose Kamala Harris at the convention, the Democrat National Convention. I was there, but it wasn't an open process. It was a closed process. She was the nominee. There was no vote. There was no battle. There was no debate. Nobody else was allowed to run. It was Kamala Harris, and everybody, by a voice vote, gave her acclamation, and she became the nominee, and that was it. They're going to do the same thing here. The party's executive director indicated that candidates may be required to collect signatures from Maine voters to be eligible for the nominating. So that's how they'll get around from this. They'll get around by going, well, we did have it to be an open process because they had to go around and get signatures from their neighbors. So there we go. There'll be 500 convention delegates, with the remaining 100 delegates being state committee members. So again, the party bosses. Each county party committee is expected to caucus prior to the state nominating convention. And the state Democrat Party will provide exact details on how that's supposed to go. They have not shared specific details yet, but essentially it's going to be a closed process. Will there be a debate? We don't know. Once candidates declare they're running, they may have a formal debate. Maybe not. But the debate, even if they have it, is going to be a fugazi. It'll just be a show, just to say that they had an open process. It's not going to be an open process. When they make their choice, that person will be the nominee. And then all of it will just be, well, what they have to do, though, and you know this, right? What they have to do is they have to show the appearance of it being an open process so that people won't stay home in November. Because if they feel like they got railroaded again, then they're going to stay home. That's what they're dealing with right now. So we'll see how that goes. It's probably going to wind up being that Jones guy who's a former state senator and a kook and backed by Bernie Sanders. And then they can say like, well, at least we got another socialist, progressive ideologue on the ballot. So don't be mad at us. Ha ha ha. Don't be mad. Don't do, give it a break. All you people whining about how the party's just steamrolled over you. And then we'll see if that is in fact the case, but it'll be fun to watch. But this is still the kooks movement. I mean, I don't want you to think that for a second the kooks are not in charge here. You know what I mean? Like, they're still in charge. Minnesota's Attorney General Keith Ellison said the most baffling thing I've ever heard in my life as a justification for socialism. It's just odd to me because at one point they're the party of defund the police until they realize that they can use it to justify socialism.
There are elements of socialism that are part of our system today, including Medicare and Social Security. And
how about policing? How about you call the cops? Guess who pays them? Your tax dollars. Guess what that is? That's socialism, pal. Sorry. You don't contract for your own private police department or fire department or water inspection or public works.
That's socialism. So the military socialism, all of the government services, they're not services that you pay for. That's socialism. Got it? You see what's happening as you creep into the conversation? If you start making people think that way, then they're more likely to go with it and be like, well, we kind of have socialism already, right? I mean, we do in the United States of America, but we have it through programs, government programs that redistribute money, because that's what socialism is really about. It's about redistributing money. It's not about providing services. It's not about fixing highways. It's not about having police departments and fire departments and the military and all those other things. Those are called government services that people as taxpayers pay into. When they take your taxpayer dollars and give it to other people who are not paying taxes or not paying as much taxes, or give it to them in the form of benefits, that's what socialism is. If they socialize healthcare, if they socialize things where people don't have to pay for it, like you probably pay a water bill, you probably pay lots of different bills in your property taxes. Those property taxes pay for things like police. They pay for things like fire. They pay for EMS workers. See what I mean? You're paying for it. So it's called a service. Now, if I'm not paying taxes, however, and I'm given money, that's called socialism. That's the difference. Now, am I paying for the police coverage of people who are not paying their property taxes? Yeah, I am. But that's also protecting my community as well. You understand that whole concept? They're protecting my community. It's like the military theoretically protects my country from invasion. So even if people aren't paying taxes and I'm technically subsidizing them, it's not socialism because I'm reaping the benefit of that by having a country that's not being invaded. If you take my money and give it to somebody who isn't working, and then they're able to now go out and buy food, I'm not reaping the benefits of that unless they buy the food and give it to me. Unless they go to Taco Bell and then they bring it over to my house and then I can enjoy all the fruits of the Taco Bell that they bought with my money. I think we can all see the difference in that. But again, it's about changing words and language so that people are hip and cool with it. That's what they try to do. Jared, what's the best excuse you ever used to get out of a traffic ticket in your life? Do you have one?
I'm a take my medicine guy.
You just take it?
I speed enough that, you know what, like it's like the mob. Like there used to be a thing in the mob where if you got popped for a crime that wasn't yours And the mob boss would be like, yeah, but we need you to go down for this one. Like, you did a lot of other crimes, so like, it's fine. Just, this is it's your turn. It's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Do you know how fast you're going? No, we don't
you
have to play the
popped
game.
your cherry.
We don't have to play the game, but
right, like,
just write the ticket. Let's move on. Well, I got to make sure you're sober. I'm sober. Let's go.
Yeah. You want to take. I think that's very responsible of you, by the way. I applaud that. I admire that. I applaud that.
Appreciate it.
Ex-NFL reporter Diana Rossini, her interaction with police officer to dodge a traffic ticket comes to light. She was texting with the Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell and was let off with a warning. Do we have the audio of this?
Yeah, I got it for you.
Thank you.
And I've never gotten to.
Okay. So, obviously you were on your phone for a while, right? I was on, when you went under the underpass, right? On Garber Square, I was by Library Place. So you're on your phone there. I got behind you, right, by Whole Foods. You continue to be on your phone, right? I understand you have a job.
Of all times, it's like no one expects. Are you football head?
Yeah.
Like, I'm shocked that they fired him. I cannot believe it. You know who was on the phone with?
Who?
Brian Gable, because he lost the job.
Oh, okay.
Are you a fan of Giants or Jets?
I'm not a fan of either. So.
What is your team?
I'm a Vikings fan, unfortunately. Let's see.
Now she picks up the phone and gets the Vikings head coach on the phone. I mean, this is taking some serious lengths.
See what I said? Look what I said to him, though, just now. Go to the bottom.
Oh, my God.
She texts him.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Dude, I love the Vikings, though. They're awesome. Chaos is awesome.
Yeah. He seems like a good dude.
Your quarterback sucks, though.
Yeah. So
no.
He's got to fix it. He's got to turn it around or someone else is going to get him. Do you have your registration as well? That's what I was going to ask next is like, have you ever gotten points, anything like that? No? All right.
I mean, so he let her go with a warning. What do you think about that?
So I worked for the NFL for 6 seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't work for the team, right? Like I worked for the team. I met with the team. The team paid me in one of those instances. But you're so far removed, right? Like, okay, I was a sound guy for the Chiefs. Like that's not like, hey, you know what's cool? I texted the head coach. I was like, who cares? Like, why is that?
Yeah.
Why does that get out?
Yeah. Why is that even a thing? Right?
No, you're not. Listen, if you're if you travel with the team, like even that, like is that cool? Like, I guess, is that cool enough to get out of a traffic ticket? Like, also,
and isn't it kind of like me getting pulled over and being like, oh, I'm sorry. I was look, Dana Perino, and like showing my phone and being like, look at what she said. He loves cops.
Like, text Dana Perino right now. I couldn't pull over and text Dana Perino because I have to work.
Yeah.
Like, I think it seems, I guess, thirsty, what the kids might call it. Like, it seems so like my job is next to a job that's cool, and you like the thing that's next to my job. I think it seems really like I'm so everybody that's listening, please be aware that you're on camera at all times, and don't seem so desperate. That's what it is. Desperate. She comes off as very desperate.
Yeah, and I get that, like the cop exercise discretion and all that, and so that's fine. But I don't think she comes across particularly well in this.
No.
You know what I mean? Because name dropping a coach, showing the phone, like, look at me, look how special I am. I don't know. You know what I mean?
So you're in the same boat. Like, you go to the stadium. We do cool. We've been around behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We're in locker rooms. Like, okay, who cares? Like, why does the cop care? Like, you were doing the law, the against the law thing. You knew the law. You wouldn't pull over at Whole Foods to return Vrabel's text. Like, it's desperate. Desperate.
Happened in Ridgewood, New Jersey, by the way, up in Bergen County, New Jersey. She did show the text that she'd been having with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, and she showed the officer her phone with the text in it. I'm an NFL reporter, and it just broke. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Well, let me know in the comments if you've ever gotten out of a ticket, and if so, what the craziest excuse was that you ever used. And if you've ever done anything like this before, and if you think the cops should have just given her a summons, like, let me know. I'm just curious what you think by this. It's one of those situations where I don't know. I mean, the name dropping gets me. It does. It's funny. It's just funny to me.
Awful.
But yeah. But then again, I've name dropped my dad when I've been pulled over before because he's a retired cop. And I'd be like, my dad's on the job, right? So I've name dropped him. And I'm going to do it right now because it's his birthday today. So happy birthday, Papa Zeoli. That's right. Tony Zeoli, 75 years old today.
Nice.
Diamond Jubilee. Yes. And I have name dropped him many times and will in the future. And I'm not ashamed to say it. But then again, he was on the job. He's not a football head coach. I think it's a little different. But, that's like, what are you going to do? It's just one thing. Like, you kind of mentioned, like, great respect for law enforcement. My dad was on the job. So, he was? Oh, yeah. That's kind of how that works. Anyway, happy birthday, Papa Zeoli. Hope you have a great day, Dad. Love you. Hope you had a great time on the show today. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Please make sure you subscribe and tell your friends, and have a great rest of your day. And thank you for listening.
But the fact that you just sit here and said that nobody cares that Max Miller beat his wife is highly alarming.
We're not here to talk about Max Miller. We're here to talk about Graham Plattner.
I think we got to be talking about all of it, because if we're not policing this conduct from people, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, it's not right. Nobody has the moral high ground.
But the topic today is Graham Plattner. That's why we're here. We're talking about Graham Plattner. If we want to do another segment on the congressman you're bringing up or the candidate.
You let me know when we're going to book a segment on Max Miller, because I haven't heard a lot about it from Republicans.
I'm not a booker at Fox.
Let's go.